Hi, everyone. I'm Nadiya Shah.
Hello, I'm Clarissa Dolphin.
Hi there, I am David Cochrane.
And we are here to discuss and talk about and celebrate the upcoming ISAR Symposium on Saturday, August 28th. Thank you for being here and for us as well, because we will be presenting at this conference along with other incredible astrologers as well. So thank you guys, David, Clarissa. I appreciate you guys so much. What are you guys going to be talking about at the upcoming ISAR Symposium?
We're going to be discussing how we relate to astrology as vibrations and fractal sacred geometry. David and I both practice vibrational astrology. He's my astrology dad in that whole situation here. And really, vibrational astrology is I guess, a more rich shoot off of harmonic astrology, but it goes into whole literal other dimensions. So it's going to be like super exciting to talk about it with David. David, you got something to add?
Oh yeah, of course, I always do. So, so one of these exciting things about vibrational astrology, it's like a new kid on the block. It hasn't been around that long. It's built from other things like harmonic astrology, but honestly, it's very different from the harmonic astrology, if you're familiar with that John Addy did, and the people who are practicing harmonic astrology. We all agree, David, call your astrology something different because it's so different from what John Addy and that tradition does. So, the vibrational astrology draws upon a lot of different traditions. But what we're going to be focusing on in this presentation is not so much the techniques of vibrational astrology, but what does it tell us about how astrology works? What can we do with vibrational astrology? And vibrational astrology is just plain out radical. I mean, it's totally innovative because it mixes in highly mystical things, psychological things, scientific things, which some people think, science, boring, but it ain't boring, my friends. So anyway, we will share some of the implications of vibrational astrology and how we use it and what it does.
Well, I'm really excited to learn more about this. I will say that I did have a chance to interview one of our great astrologers, Rick Levine, and we spent this whole swath of time just talking about David and how amazing his work is and how brilliant he is and how at the forefront he is. And so I'm really excited to actually get to sit and learn about vibrational astrology and what you, David, have been doing for such a long time, the new ideas, the interesting perspectives that you bring, and of course, with Clarissa as well, continuing on some of that wisdom and bringing her own perspective to the wisdom that you've developed.
Yeah, there's one more thing I want to say, and then we need to talk about you, Nadiya, which is that when Clarissa and I get together, I'm not saying this to be polite or nice or politically correct, it's way better than me by myself. I mean, we just rock it every single time because the two ways of seeing, the examples, the imagery, they always complement each other. So that's why we do things together, because it's better. Right, Clarissa?
Well, I love that.
Well, no, I'm not going to bring hateration to the table because I think you're great just right on your own, David. But thank you for the honor. Like, yes, it does bring it just like an extra level of spicy, I suppose.
That's perfect. And Nadiya, you're going to be talking
obviously
about,
the two of you are having fun. Yeah, it is so perfect.
Yeah, we're family. Like,
yeah, obviously you guys have this amazing energy together. So I think, yeah.
Thank you, Nadiya.
Yeah, thank you. So Nadiya, ancient wisdom, tell us what you're going to be presenting and how that relates to what astrology fundamentally is.
Well, I will say that when we say ancient wisdom, that can mean so many things, because I do believe that astrology's roots lie as old as humanity itself. When we see some of the earliest documentation that human beings put together, cave drawings, for example, we can see examples of people documenting what was taking place in the sky and correlating it to events here on Earth. Figuring out, trying to make sense of, trying to anticipate what celestial phenomenon could be. So there's so many ways to consider what ancient wisdom means. But for me in particular, because of my particular educational background, I did my master's dissertation on the work of early Sufi mystic Ibn Arabi. And Ibn Arabi believed that the chart was perfect. He believed that the chart was exactly what it is that you needed it to be to do all the things that you were meant to do in this lifetime. And he's mostly known for what he called the magnificent breath, this idea that we are the embodiment of whatever we call the divine itself, and how our lives and all of our moments express that divinity. And so I know I bring this ancient wisdom, spiritual perspective to what I do. I wrote my dissertation on Ibn Arabi as well. So I'm really looking forward to sharing some of his ideas with everybody out there. I will say that for those of you who've gone through a graduate level educational journey, it was brutal, right? Graduate school was so brutal. And I remember saying to Ibn Arabi and his spirit, I said, yo, if you help me get this dissertation, I am going to talk about you. I promise that I will talk about you. And so I did get my master's, and this is one opportunity to honor that promise that my soul made to his soul. So for that, I'm really very grateful. But he's got wonderful mystical ideas that have incredible implications for us as astrologers that I hope will add to everybody's practice out there.
Wow, like I'm like rocket shipping out of my seat. Like I was hoping not to scream as you were talking. How exciting. So we're going primordial astrology, like the origin with your talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you
Wow.
for saying that, Clarissa, because up until very recently in human history, up until the discovery of Uranus, astrology and what we call spirituality, but what we can say is religion, right? They were intimately tied. Astrology was developed and was the providence of the priests. And it still is in many parts of the world. I am of South Asian origin. We call our astrologers pundits, right? We call them by these, like guru, we call them by these words that we use in the West for priests or people who practice in the teachings of the divine or divine wisdom. And so it's very intriguing to be able to share that perspective in this particular type of environment with the ISAR Symposium, because it's not always the case that that appreciation is at the forefront.
Yeah, all I can say is, wow. I'm looking at Clarissa's expressions, which is expressing what I'm feeling as well. Maybe I'm not as emotive as she is, but for me and Clarissa, this is like finding out where our thoughts originated, like how they developed, because a lot of what you're saying is what we learn in vibrational astrology and other forms of astrology, exactly the same ideas, but to anchor them in this history and the purity of that history, because we're living our modern lives and picking up pieces of this and whatever. And I don't know, there's just something so exalting about this. I'm just really excited. The more we appreciate, it's not just understanding, the more we appreciate what's going on, the more special we realize astrology is. Right. And yeah, so, there will be some people who don't quite agree with each other or, whatever. And that's great because we want to have this interface. But what you're doing is providing a historical foundation for some of the philosophical concepts that we use and many other people use.
Yeah, you're anchoring us in the purity, the power, and the magic of our origins as astrologers. It's a great place to launch from. And I cannot wait to hear your talk. And it's such a trip because David and I, David used the word science, which is a trigger word. I somehow a little bit want to vomit just hearing science myself right now, but really it's quantum physics.
Right.
It's quantum mechanics. So you're doing, the origin, where we come from, I'm just imagining humans when we were like mud and dirt, and then we became slugs and fish, and then the first thing that we did was relate to the stars, and that's how we navigated. And David and I are on the totally opposite end of the spectrum, where we're literally doing the movie Interstellar. That's how we're reading astrology charts. It's like there's this dimension, that dimension, all these energies. We're energy. So this is like, oh my God, like I'm dying of joy and glee. I can't even talk right now.
Yeah.
Joy and glee. I love it. I love it. That's a great word for what we are embarking on, for sure.
Yeah, there's this continuum that among us we're going to cover. And yeah, you're quoting Clarissa, which I often do. If you rewind and listen to her, she said the purity, power, and magic of is what your research, Nadiya, is bringing out in the essence. Sometimes I just write down her phrases. It just like captures what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, Clarissa is brilliant. And I want to say thank you to both of you, but especially to David. I do want to acknowledge that so much of what this symposium is, the concept of it was envisioned by David. And so David was the one who saw this phrase associated with me, something within me he picked up on, and asked me to teach, asked me to share a talk on astrology as ancient wisdom. And it's amazing to me that David did pick up on that, and that it gives me this opportunity to fulfill that soul level promise to Ibn Arabi. So thank you, David.
I just heard a woot woot from Ibn Arabi.
I know, right? I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Nadiya. And this was an amazing process because, I contacted these people that, we discussed it and we said, this one will be fantastic. This one will be fantastic. Everybody's busy, whatever, and every single person agrees to it. And the topics were funny. Like one of the speakers, I gave 3 different topics and she said, I love your topic. Well, I said, which one? She said, all 3 of them. Just enter it just like you made it. That was Lee Wayman's, which has this long title to it. Anyway, it was pretty darn magical the way everybody is centered in their heart as well as their head. And when you're centered in your heart, magical things happen. People really want to contribute. It's just beautiful. It's just totally beautiful. Yeah. It
is. And it's going to be so exciting. So everybody out there, remember, this is August 28th. It is free for ISAR. Well, no, it's if you've registered for the 2022 ISAR conference that is set to take place next year, in-person conference. Well, look, this whole symposium is completely free for you. If you haven't yet registered, what are you waiting for? You get so many perks if you do, but even if you haven't, that's okay. You can still register just for the conference, and ISAR members pay a little bit less than everybody else. Of course they do, but whether this is an opportunity to join ISAR, whether this is an opportunity to hear incredible speakers, everyone is welcome at the ISAR Symposium, August 28th.
Perfect.
Yes, please join us.
I love you. Join us. Yes.
This is the vibe. This is how we're going to go down the whole time. So
we're going to have a lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay. I love you guys. And thanks everyone for watching.
Love you
God
too.
bless.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.